Hi, my name is Temitope Runsewe, and I'm an under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
TOPE's determination to come back to Nigeria in order to contribute what he had learned to his country was always his major driving force. He didn't let failure stop him or hold him back. He would keep trying until he got it right. He always wanted to know how he could add value wherever he found himself. Thus, it didn't come as a shock when he recorded groundbreaking success within 3 years of joining Dutum.
All right, so Stonebridge Development is a firm that you founded. Is this the entrepreneur in you, trying to find expression?
Right, so, look, I founded many companies, right? While I was in uni, I didn't even mention some of those. I sold everything. I sold computers, sold computer parts, sold mouse, sold Wi-Fi dongles, sold cars, car parts. At some point, I did food delivery service or shopping, private shopping. So by the time I came to Nigeria and I was doing, I started running Dutum. That drive never stopped. That drive has not stopped till now. I've established, even in Nigeria, a company doing renewable energy. I've had farms, fish farm, poultry, and then the Stonebridge Development was one of those. Well, it was just one of those ones that lasted the longest, and apart from Dutum, which is the core of what I do all the time. And the idea of that was to create an avenue to go into. So right now we do construction in Dutum, and then Stonebridge Development was just a development vehicle to do some housing projects beyond just construction. So taking some higher level of risk. We did a project with that organization. I co-founded that with a friend of mine. We don't do as much with it anymore, but it's there. The developments are there. People live in the houses that we've developed.
It's amazing, and it's of course on record that within the first 3 years of you joining Dutum as executive director, you went on to increase the revenue by over 50% and scoring about $10 million in revenue. What did you bring to Dutum that was missing at the time?
Well, I wouldn't say missing, right? But did better. Innovated on, improved on. As you know, the company started in 1989. I came on board in 2009. And one of the first things I observed, amongst many things, I think, was that I came in and we were only operating in southwestern states of Nigeria to start with. And, and this is part of what the international exposure gives you. It makes you believe and know that you have the capacity to operate anywhere in the world, right? And seeing that, I could see Chinese companies operating in Maiduguri, French companies operating in Kafanchan, other Europeans operating in eastern part of the country. So I asked my dad, why are we only operating in your state, Ekiti State, Lagos State, just the southwest states? And, it was like, this is where we know, this is where we're familiar with, and I'm like, look, well, first of all, that's going to change now. We're going to take jobs anywhere we can find them in the country and would execute. So alone, that immediately changed our geographic spread, from 6 states or 7 to 36. So anywhere the work is, would go there. And between that time and now, from working in 7 states only back then, we presently are in about 18 states of the Federation, where we have actively executed projects or currently executing projects. So that alone changed the direction of things. And then also, I think the key thing is the education that we got gave us the opportunity to question things and critically analyze things. So I sat down, questioned first of all, why are we only here? I found out why. There was no real reason, and then we spread, and that increased revenue, of course. And then I started questioning how we do things, why we do things, what we are doing. At the time, we were only focused on government contracts. And of course, I started observing sometimes you work, you'll be waiting 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years for payment, 3 years for some payments. I'm like, a business cannot operate like this. What are the alternatives? And then I started asking questions. I discovered, well, you can be a construction company in Nigeria and not even have a single government contract and be doing fantastically well. I was like, okay, then let's join them. And then we started moving more towards doing projects in Lagos. And now we have as many, if not more projects in Lagos than we have anywhere in the world, in Nigeria. But before then, we were not even physically doing any major projects in Lagos at all. And then the next thing, I was like, okay, I think I figured out Nigeria. Let's see if we can, explore other countries of Africa. And we're currently at the brink of that now. And very soon, you'll be hearing about Dutum in maybe Ghana, maybe in Senegal, maybe in some other African countries. Be on the lookout for that.
All right, so you have a number of what I would call iconic, projects in Africa, ranging from housing estates to hotels, business and commercial buildings, a port, bridges, airport hangars, roads, and you've worked for a number of clients, including the World Bank, of course, the Nigerian government, as you mentioned earlier, at the federal and state levels, real estate firms, hotel chains, banks, and universities. You may be an African company, but it seems you're ready, and really on an international growth trajectory.
Well, so again, and this is what I said earlier regarding, the international exposure. So our focus is one, we're just physically or geographically located in Nigeria, right? All we're aiming for is to provide international quality standard of construction services that will be acceptable and deliverable anywhere in the world. And probably this is what separates us from a lot of our peers, right? Our focus. Now, it doesn't mean that we're 100% there yet, but when you have your eyes set on a particular focus, it guides everything that you do. And that is part of what guided our core values as an organization. There are 5 of them. And I believe if you speak with any Dutum staff who has been here for at least 3 months, they should be able to tell you these core values, and they're excellence, collaboration, innovation, integrity, and leadership. This is what we're driving. So anywhere we are, anywhere we land, we want you to be able to picture excellence in our delivery. We want you to be able to picture innovation. We want you to be able to picture leadership. And we're a very passionate company. We love what we do. And these are things that we look for when we're engaging, a team, somebody who wants to work with us, who wants to, getting recruitment done. We're looking for these qualities. If you don't have them, no matter how good you are and whatever it is, we're probably not going to engage you, because that is in the fabric of what we're trying to build. An international organization, a globally relevant one, which just happens to be geographically located in Nigeria and in Africa, but with delivery capacity to deliver anywhere in the world and let it pass through. That is what we're aiming for.
So it's a great thing that you've talked about your core values as a business, but tell me, what's the current organizational structure of your business?
So there's a board of directors that sits at the, at the top, and then there's the management of the company, which comprises of the managing director, And of course, in the board of directors, you have the chairman of the board and the board members, and then the management, which comprises of the managing director, myself, and the management team that comprises of a head of finance, head of HR, head of business development, and then the head of project management office, and then of course that cascades down into the project managers, the site engineers, the full back-end office team, that the finance, procurement, it's quite a very rich structure, well-structured organization and that is what we need to be able to deliver predictable projects. So we can be working in 10 places at the same time, and we can guarantee to a large extent that we'll give the same delivery, because we have created a structure that allows the business to run almost independent of the managing director, if possible, as much as possible.
Definitely, meaning that delegation is big for you. What's the number one thing about delegation?
So delegation for me allows you to spread yourself, right? Allows you to, multiply your abilities in quantum capacities. So I can only be in one place at a time, but by delegation, I can be in 1,000 places at the same time. And if you're going to have an organization that would grow, outgrow you, you must be able to be physically in one place, but at the same time in 1,000 places. And that is what delegation does. And the spirit of that is not just giving people tasks, but also giving them a piece of yourself. So if someone has worked with us and closely with me for 6 months to a year, after a while, they will be able to predictably do things in similar ways that I'll do it, right? And after a while, there are certain people who have worked with me now for the past 14 years that have been running this business in Nigeria. There are certain of them that I can predict what they will do anywhere I send them to. And that is what delegation is about. You allow people to go out there, make a few mistakes, but you're right there allowing them to repeat until they learn what they need to learn.
And on the subject of human resource, what are your observations about the quality of talent available in Nigeria? And tell me, how do you typically hire?
That question is a very interesting one, because we've gone through a series of recruitment in recent times, and the observation generally is that there's a need for improvement in the general quality of our available pool of talent. That is not helped by the current heavy migration, to Europe, to Canada, to the US, and all of that. But having said that, what I have discovered then is the onus now rests on the leader of the organization, that you cannot find ready-made products almost anywhere anymore. You have to be ready to mold and shape people to give you that thing. And that's where the work is now. As after a while, as leader of an organization, you discover that your real job is actually to mold people and shape them into people that will deliver maximally for the organization and for the nation. So our assignment as entrepreneurs and as leaders of organization is beyond just running organization for making money. We must be able to produce people that would add value to the society, so that when they leave you, that thing that they've learned from you goes to reproduce itself somewhere else, and then begins to multiply. Now, to the second part of the question, how do we generally recruit? A wide range of ways. I've tried everything. I've used recruitment agencies. I've used headhunters. I've done searches myself on LinkedIn. I've assigned my assistants comb through LinkedIn, look for people. We've done adverts. We've done word of mouth. But I found that I think the best people that we've hired have been through recommendations. Somebody recommending someone, saying, I'd say, look, I'm looking for somebody to do X, Y, Z. And they say, okay, I have this. By the time we sift through 3 or 4 recommendations, interview them, most of the best hires that I've had have been through recommendations. There have been the off chances of people that were not through recommendation and they were good. But if you just look through the percentages, we've had more, better talent come through recommendation than through just the normal recruitment processes.
Okay, so talking about leadership, and indeed you've mentioned leadership a couple of times, how would you describe your leadership style?
So as a person, I think my personality, comes through in my leadership style. Personally, I'm an aggressive person, but I'm gentle, if there's a way to put that. So I'm not brash. I like to, be kind to people as much as possible. I like to treat a fellow human being with respect, with goodness and kindness of heart. That doesn't mean that you're, weak or, not nice. There's a difference between being kind and being nice, right? It's still firm, but generally more on the direction of I work best with driven people because I don't like to micromanage. I like to, you come in, we've agreed on your KPIs, we agreed on what you need, and I allow you to run, right? In an organization like ours, you can basically do as much as you have the capacity and desire to do. I'll allow you that freedom, because my view about building leaders is that you must give the people the opportunity to flap their wings, and give them the opportunity to try to fly. They might not get it right the first time, but if you want rest as a leader, you need to allow people make mistakes. And learn from the mistakes, and you correct them. Sometimes the mistakes might be a bit costly sometimes, but you don't give up on people. One thing I don't know that about the way I deal with people is I give you the first chance and the second chance, and just believing that there's something in everyone. If you give them the right opportunities, they would eventually turn around and get it right. So that's my style, allowing people to try their hands on things, and then in the back, giving them the necessary grooming, the necessary coaching, training that they need to be able to get the best out of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me, how has travel and interacting with different cultures added value to you and to your business?
The first thing it has done is that I believe that I can do business and thrive anywhere in the world. And this is very important for the times we're in, because the times we're in, we're living in a global village now. Everybody is your competitor. Everybody is a potential business ally, regardless of where they are in the world. So that understanding makes me able to relate and interact with anyone, anywhere. And in bringing those exposures and experiences to our business operations in Nigeria, when you travel, you see things, you hear things, you learn things. And for me, most of the things that I see and learn, what I want to do is, how can I implement this thing that I've seen and heard? For example, the other day I was driving in a shopping mall in the UK, and I could see the way the ramp of the car park was designed, and the way the friction on the driveway was. And in my mind, I was thinking, okay, this shopping mall that I'm building that has a similar car park, I was already just thinking of how you would bring those same lessons to bear, and this is absolutely what happens in almost every aspect. Like travel, I see a building and I'm thinking, wow, how can we replicate that? And this is part of the kind of things that we're trying to do at Dutum in redefining African skyline, in redefining and bringing out the hidden beauty of the African continent. And this is one of our missions. Our mission as an organization in Africa is that, look, Africa has been long described as a dirty continent, a dark one, right? But really, if we're able to contribute our part in redefining the skyline, and people can now take postcard pictures, and you say, oh, this is in Lagos, this is in Nairobi, this is in Accra. It doesn't necessarily have to be in London, in Singapore only. We can recreate those skylines in Nigeria and in Africa. So traveling gives you that exposure and making you see what is possible and what is doable. And those are the kind of things we want to bring to our continent.
All right, so you have a couple of CSR programs that I know that you're passionate about.
Yes.
Would you care to elaborate on that?
So from time, I've always been passionate about young people. So I have a TOPE Runsewe Foundation that focuses on mentorship and training for young people, just giving them a sense of direction, trying to point them in the path that I feel, will be useful for them and for the society. That also has some smaller projects like the TOPE Runsewe Foundation scholarship program. In that one, we help indigent people from primary school, secondary school, some university, to pay for their, education. And then, of course, we also have regular outreaches that we do to the less privileged, giving out materials, relief materials during different seasons of the year, just to play a part in giving back to the society. As an organization also, we have a lot of CSR activities. We don't enter any community without adding value to the community. If we, get into a village, we'll look for a school in the area that we can either renovate classrooms, put a borehole. We look for a road, maybe the road leading to, most of the time, we always start with the road leading to the palace of the chief. Most of the time, we do the road, we put a borehole. If we can, sometimes people need medical help. If we can, we do something about that. And then we also do some medical outreaches in some of the communities that we've worked in.
With a natural drive to put his best into everything he does and to get things done, Tope's focus can definitely be classified as one of a kind. Now, let's get to really know him with some quick-fire questions.
All right, let's move on swiftly to this few quick-fire questions I have for you. What do you love to eat?
Maybe too much rice.
Okay, how would you describe your style, your fashion style?
Gentle and sharp.
Your dad, I see. What are your favorite brands to wear?
I enjoy Nike, Gucci, and then I love African brands. As you see me dress, this is how I enjoy to dress most of the time. I believe this is our formal wear in Africa.
What's your favorite car to drive?
I love Mercedes.
Mercedes. So what's your favorite travel destination?
So the ones I've visited, I would say Johannesburg. Where I've not been, would really love to go. Singapore, very soon.
Your favorite book of all time?
Think and Grow Rich.
What book are you reading right now?
Right now, I am reading Extreme Ownership.
Interesting. And lastly, I would like to know, Tope, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? The fulfillment of being a blessing to people, the fulfillment of seeing my family, my children grow. That makes me happy and gives me a lot of joy.
All right. Amazing. Thank you for coming on Under 40 CEOs, Tope.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure. Hi, my name is Temitope Runsewe, and you too can be an Under 40 CEO.